Hi guys! We're going to start by adding render textures to our 3D objects. I will then have a follow-up video where we plate them, create 2D, 3D symbols if necessary, etc. So first I have our two 3D objects that I know we need to add textures to. One of them is my floor, one of them is my back wall. And this is another version of that set for Campo Maldito from iteration that went up in 2016. So we're going to start by adding a render texture to my floor. Now, if you've drafted your floor as a rectangle, right, with no extrusion, then it will not offer you the option of a render texture. So demonstration, because I'm here, a rectangle has no render information over here in the render tab on object info. It has shape information, all of this stuff. It has no option for any sort of render texture, okay? So in order for an object to have a render texture, it needs to be a 3D object. There are two ways to go about that. I like to just extrude it a little bit because then it's a 3D object. The other thing you can do is convert it. So if you're over here, you can be like, please convert this to a 3D poly. I feel like sometimes that is a little tweaky to work with, so I will usually just extrude it. So my floor is already extruded about 1/8 of an inch, so it's just barely a floor. And then it is also raised to be sitting right above. So it's extruded 1/8 of an inch, and its bottom Z is 1 foot 2 inches, and that sets it just above the stage floor right here. Okay, so my stage floor object is right there, and then I have this floor that's sitting on top of it. That's my scenic floor. So I want to take this scenic floor object and add a render texture to it so that it looks like a wood floor in a rendering, even though in this drawing it's just a flat object, okay? So I go over here to render textures and I ask it to, it asks you to identify what part you want to add this render texture to. I'm changing the render texture of the top, so I'm clicking on the part which is the top. Right now it's reverting to class texture, so it's saying, hey, whatever class I'm in, that's fine. But I want to actually give it a specific texture, so I just click texture. The most recent one apparently that I've used is a brick texture. That's not the one I want. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to search for a wood floor. Okay, so a bunch of wood floors have come up thanks to the Arrowway wood floor library. I'm going to just kind of pick one of these lighter wood floors, double click on that. It's now attached to this floor surface. You can't see it because we're in top plan view. So top plan view is a 2D drawing of the thing, whereas top view would be an actual view looking down into it. So top plan is taking all of your 2D information from your symbols, whereas top view is taking render information from your symbols. So when we made our beanbag chair, we gave that 3D object a 2D version of itself, right? That 2D version was part of the 2D symbol information, and that's what is going to show, if it's available, on these top plan views. Whereas in top view, you're going to get a 3D render, okay? In this case, I'm in wireframe. You can change your automatic preference right here. So if you hover over this, it says default 3D render mode. So if I switch from top plan to a 3D view, my default right now is to render in wireframe. The reason being that's way less processor intensive overall. If you're going to be switching back and forth and you're doing rendering like this, it makes sense to toggle yourself into an automatic OpenGL mode. So now if I Command 5 or Control 5, I'm in top plan view. and then I hit Shift C, and I'm automatically in a render mode, okay? So that can be useful when you're swapping back and forth like this on a project. So here we are now in OpenGL, which is sort of a low impact render mode, right? It's not so much rendering lighting. It's mostly just giving you your basic render, giving you a kind of a simplified version of any custom textures. So here we are, and now I want to add a brick texture to this back wall. So that'll be the other object that you have on your set for sure, is some sort of a wall situation. So on a wall, I now additional have same parts idea. You can make all of your parts that texture. I don't really want to do that because in my 2D view, I don't want to see like the bricks on the top edge of a flat. That doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to look at, it's either the left or the right texture will be updated to that part. And the way that you determine that is when you're in top plan view, the wall has a running direction. You can see there's like a little arrow. That's the direction that the wall is going, which means that the top would be the left, the bottom would be the right. So if we update the texture on the right side of that wall, from class texture to a specific texture, it wants to be brick. That's what I want. If you need to find brick, you go like this. Brick in your resource manager, searchy search, pick your favorite brick. I'm good with the one that it already has going. So I'm going to just get back out of there. Right? I'm just going to click out of that window. This brick is good for me. Okay, so now I can Shift C. So now I have a wall, brick wall, and I have a floor. Okay, I also, as I'm sure you can see, have some art, like a concert poster and a superhero art thing, some gamer nonsense. Because it's this tech startup, I have some random art. I have a bulletin board over here. Okay, so these objects are what are called image props, I think. I don't remember. I did this show a long time ago, but let's find out. They're grouped together. I want to just look at one of these babies. What are you? Yeah. So object info, it's a rectangle. And yeah, it's an image prop, okay? There's no ability to edit this. So an image prop is like a symbol, but it's a picture of something. If you go into your resource manager with this file that you don't have a copy of, maybe I'll download a copy for you, put it up on thing. So here's your chromatics poster, for example. And it is just an image that I've brought in, okay? So that's one of those resources that's part of this wall. So I bring in each of these images in a scale, set them up so that I can very quickly throw them up on the walls, okay? So that's like this game controller poster, type, image, it's just attached to the wall. And we can talk about that if that's something you want to try and do. I can help you figure out how to do that stuff as well. But it's not, in fact, a texture on a 3D object. We're going to exit this group. Okay, so now I have render textures on wall and floor, and I'm going to come back with another video to help you plate these objects into